DJ Rhett Podcast.
What's your mom and them?
Can you do this whole interview in the coon-ass voice you do?
I could do that the whole time like that if you want to.
At least
that would
a little
be
bit.
that would be completely annoying, Sha. You know, I don't know. After a while, you can be like, okay, use your regular voice, Sha. But thanks for coming into the studio. We're rolling now, so it's live. It's ready to go.
All right.
So tell everybody your name, where you're from, and we'll just get into the story that brought us to this place today. So let everybody know who you are.
My name's Christifer James Derouen. I'm from New Iberia, Louisiana, and I got myself in a mess of shit right now.
I guess a mess of shit, but just with the right intentions, I guess. You know,
100%.
So tell me how you got involved. So it didn't get a lot of national attention, but I did see it pop up maybe the first 2 days, maybe. For the C-Corps incident that happened on April 13th of this year. So for everybody that haven't followed the story, everybody in Louisiana is following this story.
100%.
Everybody close to the Gulf of Mexico is following this, and I felt compelled watching it unfold over the last couple of weeks. I didn't think it got the recognition that it deserved, national attention. So I reached out to guys like you. To see if we can drum up some type of information, to get donations to the right places where they need to go, where they, because that's one thing about Louisiana and even people generally in the South. They love to give, and they want to make sure that that's going to the right avenue. So tell me, how did you get involved with this situation a couple of weeks ago when this incident happened? So
the incident happened on a Tuesday. One of my buddies was unfortunately involved in it. Been knowing him for a few years. I've worked on this particular boat before, like 6 years ago. I was a coil hand as well, same job as my buddy.
And for those who don't know what a jack-up barge is, can you kind of explain what it is, how it works?
It's a boat with legs. Mm-hmm. I mean, essentially they'll travel just like a boat to location and jack their legs down. This particular boat is like a 250 class, so their legs are like, I could be wrong in this, but I think it's 240 feet on this boat. Uh-huh. I've heard all various information on that. But essentially you can get out into some water and then jack up like a platform and work off of that structure remotely to do workovers or stuff to do with wells. Any kind of stuff, really, construction. It's like a mobile post out on the water.
Right, and these jack-up barges have 3 legs that they float, and then these legs kind of go down, hit the ocean floor, and then pop them up, right?
Yes, sir. Some of them have 4 even, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I've seen some with 4, but the most common one is 3, I think, because it's a little bit more symmetrical. It can kind of hold it a little bit more. My father-in-law used to drive some of those things right there, so he kind of told me about it. And these things they're top-heavy, but they typically... The weather event that happened that day was something that wasn't naturally occurring. Some of these storms, they push through that stuff all day long. It's just this was an unnatural occurrence that happened where I think they called it it was like a little wake hurricane or something they called it.
It was an anomaly.
Yes, it wasn't something that usually happens.
There's guys that were in that field working on platforms, and there was even a jackup less than a quarter mile away. And we have video from them of like during the storm when it came in, and their wind gauge topped out at 120 miles an hour before it blew off and broke off from their actual jackup.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, that's hurricane force winds.
Yeah, and you usually have a couple of days warning when you're going to have winds like that. Yeah, so that day it was just a complete anomaly, and unfortunately it topped over.
Yes, sir.
And 13 members went overboard, or was it 13 families were affected? How did that happen?
We have 6 survivors and 7 missing, 6 deceased.
Okay.
So far as it stands. But back to how I got involved with it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the tragedy happened, and I think everybody kind of paid attention. This is South Louisiana in many ways, whether you work in the oil field or not, your family, friends, cousin, brother, whoever. We all know somebody in the oil field.
Right.
These industries in our community are affected by even the oil field.
It's a trickle effect, man.
Exactly. So we all paid attention. This is what we do. And I stayed glued to social media because I don't watch the news.
Right.
Sorry, anyways. But I stayed glued to
Too
social
fake.
media and other avenues to try and get information.
Right.
And as the days would go by, it just a pit in my stomach is like anxiety that wouldn't go away. I couldn't sleep, and it got to a point. It was the following Sunday where I just woke up and I was like, I just can't stay home.
Yeah.
And
You had to get involved.
absolutely. I went down there. It was the first meeting in Fouchon that I attended. I had to find the fire station that they were having it at because they were moving it around. And I went to 2 of the wrong fire stations first, showed up late for the morning meeting, caught the tail end of it, ran into a couple of old buddies, acquaintances, to kind of get a feel for what was going on. Corps was there. They had their operations manager that would conduct these meetings. The Coast Guard was there. Red Cross. They had a bunch of different things. But because I caught the tail end, and I was down there like by myself, and granted, I knew people down there, but I wasn't trying to inject myself into the families. They had their own camps that they were all at. I just sat around for however many hours till the evening meeting. And then I went in that meeting, and I didn't understand why we were going about things the way we were. Specifically, like the Coast Guard, you would think these men are in 55 foot of water. They can see land. We're like on day 4 or 5. What the hell's going on? You know? So I had a lot of really raw questions. And there's a lot of this that I think all areas, whether it be the Coast Guard, like oil field companies themselves, there's a lot to be learned from this in totality. But it is a disaster. There's a lot of very unfortunate things. And definitely long after we finish our search and everything, there will be other fights to be had. Something has to change.
Yeah.
Things need to be,
Well, that's one thing in the oil field, man. You live and by the sword. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. When stuff happens, it's tragedies. The BP oil spill happened. We pulled our pants up from that, and we cleared our name from that. But we learn from that stuff. Regulations comes in, everything like that. This new thing right here, I think more safety regulations are going to go up. But I also think there's going to be some type of protocols that are put in place for to get more involved in the search and rescue aspect. I think, and look, we're on this side speculating. I don't know. You guys have been in the thick of things. I don't know how dangerous it is to go out there and look at the stuff, but from what I'm gathering is when they go out there, it's very dangerous to even look for survivors. You're putting other people in danger to do that. So I can't fathom as a regular person over here. That's why I kind of keep my mouth out of it, my name out of it. Like let the experts. But you're
I've
there.
had to eat some words.
No, but you're there and you're understanding and you're seeing and you're questioning. You're asking these hard questions, which I could just about imagine it's very emotional down there too, because you got people, you got families that are grieving. You got the time is ticking. From a financial standpoint, who's going to pay for all of this? And it's crazy.
That's the biggest part of it all that sucks. Is money shouldn't matter with any of this. It's human life.
Right.
That's the part of the reason why the whole nonprofits and all of this came about. Is the Coast Guard checked out after 6 days. They flew a certain grid pattern, however many nautical miles they posted or whatever. I don't want to knock them too hard because I know the men and women that were in those meetings, they were emotionally invested too.
Right.
They shed tears with us and all. But when you imagine the Coast Guard, it's like water search and rescue in a way. When I think of it, like they have a whole movie, The Guardian, Ashton Kutcher and those guys. It's a great movie. So, in the public eye, myself, that was what I was thinking, right?
Right. This is how it happens.
Yeah, our guys are out there. We're going to have some superhero jump out of a helicopter. We're going to go get our guys, and they're going to be home, and it'll be like
the movies. Yeah.
That's not the reality of it.
Right.
And it was tough to swallow, and we, to be told and informed on some of the things, there has to be some changes. As far as for the Coast Guard completely being, they were in charge of the search and rescue, essentially, but they were not in charge of the divers performing the search and rescue. So why not? Why? And I understand, people came forward and they were like, well, you can't put you can't try and rescue someone and then put them in a position to need to be rescued as well. But these are service members. We took an oath. We have a different calling.
Right.
You're there to answer a call. That's like Like, I'm a former Marine. If I was to be in a firefight, my buddy gets shot at, do I just like run away because now it's too dangerous for me?
You to go.
That's not how it works, right?
Right.
We're not asking. I didn't expect the Coast Guard to go out there and try and like earn a Medal of Honor, but like to sit on their hands in many ways, and the families still feel this way. And a lot of it, we did all our research. They have like 112 commissioned divers. There's a turnover of like 50 of them every year that they got to train up new guys to fill. But not one Coast Guard diver got on the water. Contract, Don John, who Sea Corps had under contract, I guess, in case of an event like this, was responsible for this. And as knowledge and information comes out, there are companies that specialize in search and rescue. Don John is like, they're a salvage company. Not to say that they haven't been a part of search and rescue efforts before, but their specialty is pulling this boat out of the water. This is the part that they're doing now is what they specialize in, from what they have a great reputation for it.
Right.
But to imagine a world where your loved one can be out there, essentially there's no 911 to rescue us. The company you work for has to save your ass.
Right.
And then their hands are tied by a contract to who can go rescue you. That's something that's one of the things I'm going to advocate the most for change, because if something like this ever happens, a company, contract or not, should be able to choose the most qualified company, persons, people, organization for the sake of human life.
Exactly.
Like, they have to look, I mean, so whoever wrote this law into law, whatever it is, come down here and look at these families in the eye and say, hey, this is what should have happened.
Right.
You can't. There's no way. I've been heartbroken and so emotional for so long that it's to a point where I'm just angry.
Right.
And it's kind of hard to turn that off right now.
Right. Well, so I started watching. To be honest with you, I've never heard of you, never knew of you, never knew anything. Yeah, just a guy. And actually, I started getting tagged in some videos about, hey, Rhett, can you help this guy out? And it was you. And so I started watching, and I was like, I don't even know what this is about. And I started listening. I was like, oh, okay. And then
you watched me cry and all kind of shit.
Oh, everything, man. But I was like, I was so intrigued because I see the emotion that you're going through right now. And it's like, man, this dude is like, he's passionate about what he's doing. There's some things that I may have I would have done differently, but I mean, hey, to everybody their own. But what I'm saying is you really feel strongly about this, and you're standing up for what you believe is right. And I think that's awesome. You know, if you're calling out bullshit is basically what you're doing. Point, yes. You know, and it's kind of hard to do that when you're trying to. I think everybody's everybody's intentions are in the best place. They want to find, they want to help. Things can get lost, things can get stretched, things can get misconstrued, there are evil people in the world too, you know?
100%.
So I wanted you to come on to tell your story, to tell, why you're doing this. Why do you feel like you need to do this? Because we all have callings, you know? And I think right now, this might be one of your life callings right now, to do something different, about it.
Like, people have been concerned about how much sleep I'm getting and everything like that. And to me, it's like ludicrous, because I'm not sure if I've ever had more, like, driven with more purpose than ever in my life.
Right.
Sleep doesn't matter. Sorry.
No, you good?
What needs to be done. And I'm just a get it done guy. Anyone that ever knows me knows that that's just who I am.
All right.
But as far as for getting involved with it, most people, a lot of us have suffered tragedy in our lives. One of the main reasons initially that I got involved was because obviously I was like the public not understanding why we couldn't save our guys. But then it evolved into like safeguarding the families in many ways. A lot of people, unfortunately, we lose people in our lives. That's just kind of how life goes. But very few people lose somebody in the public eye when there's thousands of people with opinions and judgment and
this should have happened, that should have happened.
Or a lot of these things, like I unfortunately lost my daughter 7 years ago, and it went like national, Nancy Grace headline news, like all these people. So I dealt with that, and I had the thousands upon thousands of people that everybody knows how to handle things or do things better than you.
You're right.
Even though they never walked in your shoes.
Exactly.
And those are things you cope with. It's not like just losing somebody. Every year I face those. There's some comments and things that transpired that I don't think I will ever forget. They were just so hateful. Right. So I got on social media. I started informing the public of what the facts were in these meetings, so that misinformation wouldn't be spread. A lot of the negative comments would like die down. And it was just like me carrying that cross for him. It kind of evolved into that. And then money. People started doing Venmo stuff and everything else. And there's people out there that prey on these situations.
Yeah.
So the last meeting I attended, like some of the families had come talk to me at that point because I was very vocal in these meetings. I know when I first started opening my mouth, people turn around and like, God damn, who's that guy?
Yeah.
I was not a nice guy. What you see on my Facebook Lives, I did that to the Coast Guard and all.
Right.
But
it's
like,
not. I don't think it's mean spirited. I think it's just
it's
what
how
the
I
F's
feel.
going on,
Yeah.
man. You know, I get it.
I'm 100%. This is who I am. There's no bullshit or fluff with me.
Right.
I don't know how to be fake. I don't know how people do that. That must be exhausting. It's hard enough to be real. Like to just it's whatever.
Right.
But to the point I was getting at, like the last meeting, I actually stepped forward and then like told everyone who I was, because at this point there was some traction. People were following me on Facebook Live and whatnot.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like overstepping some boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
I mean, you want to do the right thing, but also you don't want to step on somebody or piss somebody off to the point where you having a negative impact.
my intent was never to cause harm to the families, and I didn't want them to take anything. I needed them to know what my objective was.
What your purpose was. Yeah.
That it was all meant from a good place.
Yes.
And if they were upset, by all means tell me, because I'll chill.
Yeah.
But I introduced myself, told a little bit about my story of my tragedy, my experience, and kind of informed them like, look, with all these crowdfunding sites and sources and all that, they take a cut of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I knew this community is large. People are going to, like, their hearts are going to bleed for you. And
when there's a hurricane, when there's anything going on, man, the wallets come out, and you got those scammers that come out too.
So I was like, you need to post Venmos, like, because there's no transaction fees for that.
Right.
Like, if I want to give you money because you ain't ate lunch today and I want to feed you,
right,
I can literally shoot you $20 and you get it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's better avenues, because we went through a GoFund for my daughter's tragedy. A friend of a friend started it for me, and the amount of money that they take from this is it'll turn your stomach sometimes.
Oh yeah, it will.
Granted, I know they have to operate, but like, come on, it's a website. There's not really many people. It's like a setup, like, what do they call it? Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's not somebody out there that's like, oh, we got to go to work today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how that shit works. So I just informed them of that because I wanted to get their information. People were following me, and at this point in time, Todd Terrell somehow got my number. Realized that people were kind of noticing who I was. There was they were supposedly fueling airplanes and flying. I know Spencer Grimion, a couple others, Taylor Hernandez, Cody, Ronnie, some volunteers were already trying to continue where the Coast Guard had left off. Mm-hmm. And the search shifted in many ways to the water side. And, there was a promise to like Peanut. Don't ask me his real name. I know his last name's Ankalade. Mm-hmm. I know him as Peanut. I do know his real name, but he's Peanut. He's one of the families. Unfortunately, his brother is still missing. They're a family that I got really close to with all this. And he's a shrimper. He had an idea to use shrimp boats in case we had, unfortunately, some loved ones that may have drowned.
Yeah.
We could try and retrieve bodies for closure.
Right.
And there was a whole battle involved with all that. But there was a promise made by the United Cajun Navy to fuel these shrimp boats for the search. And I had a guy, while I was trying to amass volunteers to help, because like me and my buddy Scotty Thibodeau went down there the following weekend, and we ran into some people that were already kind of doing their own search. A guy named Buddy, all these people. The community down there was just like doing what they could anyways. Mm-hmm. And we got involved with them, and we have, they're part of the operation at this point, critical people, because we're not from there.
Right.
We made those connections and contacts, but I had a shrimper, Mr. Steven Miguez, that had hit me up, and he was like, hey, we got boats that need fuel. And I remember calling Todd Terrell, and I'm like, yo, where do I send them? You know? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, where do we send them? We, as the United Cajun Navy, and me speaking on your behalf, like even on my little baby Facebook platform, because I'm nobody, you had me, and you said that we'd pay for these shrimp boats fuel and all that, and it turned into, it was my first red flag. He had no idea how he was going to do it. Like, because we couldn't just fuel a shrimp boat with like a massive fuel tank up, right, because boats, even a recreational boat, you can run a boat on a full tank for a few days.
Right.
like say we had a volunteer come volunteer for a day. We spent X amount of money fueling it up. They come for a day and then never come back. Then the community's donations, which are for this cause, are essentially going to their house.
Right.
So I had to figure all that out. Todd was like, figure it out. And that same day, on the United Cajun Navy page, on the website, I was listed as like the shrimp boat coordinator without even like talking to me about it. I was salty about it, but I like, all right, I can figure this out. Like when you put pressure on me, I'll make a diamond. So let's go. And I'm small world contacts. There's so many stories in this, so I'm gonna try and keep it brief.
That's all good.
But Mama Michelle, if anybody pays attention, Mama Michelle had reached out to me, and she was already like fueling boats locally that wanted to volunteer through her own fundraising. So I was like, how do you make sure they don't steal the money? And she gave us the intel on how to do that. We passed it along, and that was another one Todd snaked up. Like, all right, you're working for the United Cajun Navy. Mind you, I never got a fucking T-shirt or a paycheck, so whatever. It's not like, this clown. But so all these volunteers, and it just kind of grew, man. The traction of it, because people wanted to help. It wasn't just me that felt compelled to get up and do something.
Yeah.
And almost everyone that's been a part of this, they have their own story. They're doing this because it's most of them can sympathize.
Yeah.
They've been through something.
They've had something that kind of relates to that.
Yeah, like
that
their
matter.
wounds are open through all this.
Yeah.
And this is so, but it's grown, and we've had some situations. I mean, everyone's following Mr. Scott Daspit. I mean, we'll follow him across the world and whatever he wants, and we would try and do, because I know that man will not stop until he has it, peace in his heart that he did everything.
Yeah. Is this the Mr. Scott Daspit? Is that the one that you said you were friends with the son, or is this another family?
No, another
so
family.
you met Mr. Scott through the search efforts?
Well, through the meetings, actually.
Okay.
So I wasn't the only one with a big mouth in the meetings.
Okay.
Mr. Scott Daspit was very vocal on behalf, because the reality is, no matter what position you put yourself in life, some people just aren't comfortable talking or confrontation.
Right.
So I would sit in these meetings and I would see some of the families, and some of them just wouldn't ask a lot of questions, and I knew for a fact they had to have questions.
Right.
So like,
you could see them kind of squirming, but didn't want to say anything.
And I mean, that's natural. It's no knock to anybody. And who am I? I'm not trying to form judgment or opinion on it. So like Mr. Scott Daspit almost was the spokesman for the families. They all these families are like family now. This tragedy connected them. They all talk to each other. And Scott Daspit has been their leader in every way, shape, or form in many ways.
I've seen him on the news a lot, and the sweet little man he looks like, and I mean he's
firecracker too, though. Be careful now.
Yeah. Well, I mean every time I see him on the news, he's he's talking about his son, talking about the birthday card, talking about all that stuff, and I'm like, man, I mean, your heart goes out to this man, and then I'm sure he's draining himself financially and emotionally to do something, you know.
And this is just an opinion. Anyone that's ever lost somebody that meant everything to them, their world, no matter how great of a life or how perfect how much you tried to live the perfect life for that person, when you lose them, all of a sudden there's so many things you're like, I could have done better. You
start questioning. I should have said this. I should have did that.
And and regret is a powerful emotion.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away. And I believe that, I mean, outside of clearly the love of, father's love of his son, before he walks away from this, he's just got to know. And I'm not going to let this man go broke. Yeah. I will do every fundraiser. We started this whole nonprofit thing when the Cajun Navy checked out and tugged their tails like some punks. I never ran a nonprofit before. Yeah. But I know a lady that has, and she has helped me a lot. Mm-hmm. It's all about networking, I find.
Yeah.
I've gotten to meet a lot of people through this. I have some very smart people that I work with now, and we will not fail. And Mr. Scott Daspit, especially if you ever watch this, I don't know which camera's on me, but sir, your credit cards will not get swiped for this crap.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
No, and look, and anything I can do to help, spread the message, if y'all got some specific, and I'm not going to take any Venmo, any Cash App, anything. This is going to be straight from y'all. We'll post it right on on the podcast. That way people can, when they watch, they can click, they can make donations.
Yes,
it'll go to the right places,
Roger that.
And that's exactly what we want to do. So can you tell me a little bit about the search efforts right now, where we're at in the whole thick of things, where we go next?
So That's a really good question, actually. I don't even know if I have the answer for that. Mr. Scott Daspit has it every evening, though.
Yeah.
Right now, we're launching out at Supermo Point. We've been meeting at 8 o'clock. We searched yesterday out there. The main effort is South Marsh Island. It's a massive island. It's probably the last island west of the accident that we'll probably search. We basically, due to the intel, the winds and current and all that stuff, everything should technically go northwest of the crash site, but currents can pull things in and then pull it back out, pull it in. And this is that's where our efforts are concentrated now. We're working with Wildlife and Fisheries and St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Department. They've been great as far as because the island has like a bird sanctuary. There's like a refuge on it. There's certain things we couldn't do. Previous places where it's almost like walking out on your own deserted island. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
We're going to drive airboats and Argos and four-wheelers and whatever else, and we're going to find our boys. Right. You can't do that over there. Plus, there's alligators.
Those it's like wildlife refugee areas where you can't go into and stuff like that.
There's certain restricted areas. But they've been great. Like they've been flying planes over, checking the marsh, because it's so like vast. You don't really have an idea. You could look at it on a map or whatever, but until you literally like get on the ground, the area is vast for a lot of these islands. But we have volunteers. Yesterday we had a really good turnout. Today I've had obligations and things going on, so I haven't been a part of it. But we'll search there at least tomorrow as well, and then we will figure out where to go from there. I know, me personally, I would love for Mr. Scott to take a break.
Yeah.
This stuff's physically taxing. Like, we have a lot of dedicated volunteers that have been with this, and they're almost there every day. But this stuff is like physically demanding.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like walking through marshes and swimming across bayous, and it's tough. This isn't fun, and it's not very rewarding either, because we haven't found our guys yet.
Yeah.
Like, this would all like, it's demoralizing in some cases. You almost have to lean on each other in the community. Like, the kind words, people don't realize how powerful those things are. Those things have filled a lot of our cups back up to keep this fight going. And but I would like for Mr. Scott Daspit to take like a break. Yeah. Go home. Like, he's been out and about. It's
hard to tell somebody. I mean, think about it. It's hard to tell somebody, I mean, to take a break when there's so many questions, so many, and I couldn't imagine, know, I mean, if I have 3 little girls, man, and if I lost one like that, I mean, I would do the same thing. You can't tell me to stop. I'm not going to stop until I find them, and it's, so I know when I see stuff on Facebook, when you go in there and when I see, comments from this, that, and the other person who really don't know what the hell's going on, and they just make these blanket opinions. And I get that too. I mean, I'm on social media all the time. I get haters constantly, and that used to drive me insane. And now I just turn a deaf eye to that because they don't know. Nobody knows what's going on unless you're there. You don't know what the shit's happening. So, you said that earlier, when somebody's down there say, you're doing a great job, or here's a hamburger or something, I know what that means. That fills your cup back up, and it gives you another 2 hours that you might have not had in you, And so I applaud all the efforts that you guys are doing, because I'm telling you this much. I mean, what do you do for a living? I mean, have you stopped what you've done for a living to go do this?
I went back to work for a day. When I was going to the meetings, I was working. I'm an industrial electrician.
Okay.
I was working and then taking a 2.5 hour drive down to Fouchon, attending a meeting, and then driving all the way back, getting up and going to work. It was a lot. And it just I took some personal days, and then I was asked to come back to work, and then everyone knew what I was doing at this point. Like, people at work were like, they were being extra kind to me, right? Like, they knew what was going on, but nobody wanted to talk about it, right? So I was like, I'm not going to lie, I overslept one morning, and I showed up to work, and I had, some guys, loading up my equipment to go. And I'm like, and it's not part of my crew either. They have their own jobs to run. And they're, getting all my stuff together, and I'm like, shit. Thank you. But I was so, and I was like, clearly y'all know what's going on. But I eventually requested a leave of absence just because this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm very fortunate that my employer honored that, and they understand that. I sincerely hope I haven't made too much of fooling myself in some of my rants, getting caught up in my emotions, and I haven't represented the company in any kind of negative way. But it's this is exactly my whole life is from knowing tragedy, the social media aspect of it. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. I know that wholeheartedly. There's people will message me or call me and they're like, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're busy." People are getting mad at me now because I'm like, "Hey, cut the fluff. Just what do you need?"
Yeah, what do you need? Yeah.
Like everyone says this to me like 10,000 times a day, and I spend more minutes out of the day talking to people about them having to explain. Like, I'm so sorry. Just what you got?
Give it
to me.
I think they watch you on Facebook all the time. They're like, "Man, I don't want this dude to freaking jump down my freaking shit."
The people that work with me, man, like I'm glad they're patient and they understand because there's like times I'm like we all use the word now. They'll be like, "No fluff." Okay, Chris.
Yeah, no fluff.
Yeah, and they just shoot it
hey,
to
bro,
me.
put that on a shirt and sell that for freaking for donations, man.
Yeah,
no
fluff.
fluff. I love it, man. So tell me about the Mike and Ike story, man. What's up with the Mike and Ikes? Are we gonna get a sponsor?
Yeah, you never know. I'm only not eating these because not because I don't want to chew on the mic. I don't know what that's gonna sound like a cow. Even if I had my lips closed, and my mom would probably slap me. But nah, the Mike and Ike's came about. It's something it's an inside joke that I've always kind of had with people. I've never, for whatever reason, I've never seen anybody upset when they're eating Mike and Ike's.
Right.
You just can't. Like, it's not like you can cuss at somebody. You're chewing on them. You know, like, I don't know. But I just made a comment in one of my Facebook lives, and I was like, because I was really heated. Something had bothered me, and I was like, I had to stop and get some Mike and Ike's because I've never seen anybody pissed off eating Mike and Ike's.
Right.
And in that live, I caught myself cursing a bit, so I'd stop and pop a Mike and Ike in and think about my words so I wouldn't like just spew shit, you know what I mean? So, and then now people are just bringing Mike and Ike's in droves. Like one of the sweetest things.
That's hilarious.
There was a young girl, and she couldn't have been no more than 5. We were out at Harbor Lights in Cocodrie, and she just walked up to me. Her family was behind her, and she gave me 2 boxes of Mike and Ike's, and that stuff just melted me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't even know what to do. I was like, I wanted to hug her, but I was like, I don't want to be creepy old guy.
Yeah.
Because I remember being a kid, like, don't touch me. So I was like, I didn't know to shake her hand, high five her. I was like, just thank you,
Yeah.
There's so much in this you don't know how to do,
Right.
But stuff like that is cool. And the amount of Mike and Ike's, every time just about any time I go to one of these docks and we go search, there's more people bringing me Mike and Ike's. I have a bunch. It's crazy.
So you pop one of those and it kind of calms you down.
Well, you don't have a chance to
subliminally.
Yeah, you don't have a chance to get loose with your lips, right? Because you're like, all right, I gotta chew this. It takes a while, and it tastes good.
Get them jujubes, bro. Them jujubes. Then your lockjaw, lockjaw.
I'd have stuff stuck all up in my teeth and be like, I need a toothpick sponsor after that. But
what's the name of the nonprofit organization? That way people can go ahead and take a look at it.
It's Gulf Coast Humanitarian Efforts. One word. This was something that because of some I don't want to say allegations, but I knew the direction things were going with the United Cajun Navy, which there's like 4 people that they're not an organization. I don't care what people say. Everyone that's dealt with them in any capacity knows this. It's crazy. Anyways, I knew that once I asked Mr. Scott to talk to him and be like, yo, you need to show us the money, how much you've received in donations and what you've paid out. And that's all it took.
Yeah.
And everything disintegrated. The very next day they pulled out of the search and rescue. We still have not seen any proof of, other than some Excel spreadsheet with estimated costs and all kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. They haven't been transparent. It's been well over a week now. Attorneys are involved. It's crazy. But I knew, because I'm a very calculated person and I know people. And I thought to myself, if some shady stuff's going on, they're just going to tuck tail and run.
Yeah.
So I'd already started working with people to start a nonprofit. Because I don't have a bankroll for this or anything. I don't have deep pockets. I wish I could, help Mr. Scott in that regard. So I was like, if they leave, this community's still here. The entire infrastructure, all these volunteers are still here.
Right.
We just need to help facilitate them.
Right.
Easy. These are all contacts. I have personal cell phone numbers to everybody involved. And when I mentioned it to Mr. Scott and they tucked tail, he's like, well, I'm going to start a nonprofit. I was like, hey, bud, on top of it. And he's the president of the organization because he's a business guy.
Right.
But we're going to continue searching, and there will be a time, I'm pretty sure Mr. Scott's going to, he's got to take a break. I mean, your body, whether his heart's in it. I mean,
your spirit too, man.
If love alone could bring his boy home, his boy would have been home already.
Oh, definitely.
But there's still things. There's still people I know that want to continue searching. I myself I've been following whatever Mr. Scott Daspy wants. But there's some places and areas, specifically in Fouchon, that there's the little area around it. Like if you look at it on a map, it seems very small, but it's not. And most people think, well, like they're close to the port of Fouchon. If they're there, they would just walk to the lights. It is not that easy.
Right.
It's like mangroves everywhere, thickets.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
If you send a drone up to just look at what's out there, it's unbelievable
it's
what's
vast.
out there.
And I mean, we have a good volunteer effort. Don't get me wrong, but like, but we're not going to ask, women, elderly, and stuff like that to go. We don't want to endanger anyone's lives.
Right.
So I got some duck hunters over there that come in and out offshore or whatnot, and some people, Trampus, Buddy, Kevin and Gary and them. I've been following Mr. Scott lately with everything because things got very heavy lately, so to speak. And we're going to continue searching Fouchon. And I need duck hunters. When we start doing that, I need people that are willing to get. It's not fun.
Yeah.
It'll bust you up and beat you up. Those are the volunteers that I want to lead out there because for my heart to walk away from this, as far as for the search effort, I don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Right.
Because it's not, these people are like family to me now.
There's no turning back now.
Yeah. We're here. We're in it. We knew this was going to be like a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yep.
And ultimately closure is what we want for all these families. Like the community down there has already like set me up for the next month as far as for lodging and everything.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But we're gonna be down there until we have some form of closure with this.
Yeah. Well, we got coming up in June 19th, we have our fishing tournament and our summer bash that we put on. We're going to do something special for you guys. We're going to do like an auction or something to help raise some money. We got 4 bands that are going down there.
Yeah.
And if you and Mr. Scott want to come down, get on stage, say a few words, whatever, introduce the nonprofit. And even if he wants to get up and just, it's going to be in Cocodrie. That's where a lot of the rescue efforts were done.
Roger.
Y'all come take advantage of that, man, and get in front of the people.
I might have to like hog tie Scott and drag him because he's so driven in on his own stuff. He needs to get out.
I know nothing will ever replace until he sees his son again, what form that is.
Yeah.
But I think this would be a good time for him to get with the community and show like how much he's, how much he's loved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like people care, and I know things, when it gets into the media and it gets in Facebook, it gets really ugly. People think they know better than everybody else.
Yep.
Emotions get high, and rumors fly. But I want y'all to come down and have a good time. I know the search is going to continue, and I know, we're going to do everything we can to help you guys out. But at some point, y'all gonna have to come and just, enjoy, the moment and just enjoy being with the people that's helping y'all.
Definitely.
So, and I'm inviting y'all to come in. Y'all don't have to pay. I'm gonna pay for y'all to come in.
There's a cover?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. $15 cover, but I'm gonna waive it for y'all.
I get the VIP access. You're gonna sneak me in the back.
No, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
You can let him. No, don't let the good looking girls come in. Let him come in.
Yeah.
He can come. I don't want him to do a Facebook Live on me.
Yeah.
No, man. But is there anything else you want to say about the families or anything before we wrap this up? Because I'm telling you, I'm gonna do everything I can to help y'all out. I'd like. I know y'all got young lady that's involved in maybe putting a little video together, but like I said, I'll offer helping out with that or whatever.
Yeah, if you're cool with it, it's a shame she doesn't know you.
No.
She's gonna find out. Be like, these young whippersnappers, bro. How do you not know?
I never assume that people know me. I did that one time. I'm telling you, some guy came up to me and he was like, "You look familiar," and I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm DJ Rhett on Facebook." He went, "Who?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm never doing that again. Never again."
Right? But I would absolutely love for you to work with her.
Yeah.
If you could. I know you're busy. You have your own stuff.
No, man. Anything I could do to help out, man. I know I probably can't offer much, but any little bit I could do to get the word out, maybe tag your organization and say, hey, donate to these guys because they're doing everything they can to bring these guys home. So
2 things. I know we mentioned my organization, the nonprofit Mr. Scott Daspin and I run, but also liftacadiana.org.
Okay.
We kind of partnered with them. Our side is mostly for the search and rescue, but these families need money. Like some of them need money now, right?
Yeah. I mean,
their loved one was the breadwinner or
Right.
the man of the household, and the way it was with the United Cajun Navy, all of this money, hundreds of thousands of dollars that was raised, as long as we were still on a search and rescue, they weren't giving anything out. So they're just like, and it's kind of like, to think about it, it's crazy because I could see him wanting to be, hey, let's go find everybody, but then it's like, we're in a situation, for lack of better words.
Right.
So we kind of did something different whenever we took over, and Brooke Freeman and her board members, they approached us with a proposition, but liftacadiana.org, their original mission was to provide essentially a paycheck through donations every 2 weeks, and they were doing it for the 5 Acadiana members.
Okay.
Because we're from that area.
Right.
But we proposed an idea, and they're going to do all 13 for the missing and or deceased, and their goal is to at least hopefully be able to raise enough money to give the families $500 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If we could do more, like I would love to, because
Yes.
I mean, $500 is not a whole lot of money.
No, I get it.
So I'm gonna plug that every time I talk about Gulf Coast humanitarian efforts, just because we're gonna continue to search, no doubt. But I want these families to get all the help they need, and it's not just about paying bills. There's other things, counseling. There's a lot of things. This is tragic.
You're probably looking at medication, psychiatry, just all kind of stuff.
So I mean, if I could give them the world right now to let them grieve in an appropriate time till they're ready to step back into the regular world, so to speak, I would love to. So we're gonna do as much as we can.
Yeah.
And liftacadiana.org, those funds are going straight to the families.
Okay.
Not to search and rescue, so that we can get them a check.
Right.
And then obviously ours is to fund the search and rescue. And then once these families say we've turned every stone over, the rest of it's getting chopped 13 ways, and we're getting it to the families. And because I have this platform, I do have to ask, there's still one family that we're struggling to get in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
So when the United Cajun Navy says they paid out 13 families, they're full of, you know what?
Okay.
That family knows who they are, because they're not, we don't have any dealings with them.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely need to get a hold of them.
Okay.
So,
well, if they reach out to me on the DJ Rhett page, I'll make sure they get in contact with you.
Yeah.
So if y'all know who he's talking, well, they will know.
They know.
Okay, they know.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's
fine. I don't want to mention names or.
No, that's great.
Like
That's great. And if y'all want to reach out to me anonymously on the DJ Rhett page, I'll hook y'all up some kind of way. I'll do that.
Our goal is to take care of everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the one thing we want to do. I guess with the nonprofit too. Once this is all, I mean, you never say this is really over, but I mean, I'm sure you guys will continue this to where, if anything like this ever happens again, God forbid, you guys will step into no, this is bullshit. We're not going to rely on anybody else.
My main focus has been on this, and this is it takes a lot of energy and effort. And fortunately, my employer has been gracious with me and whatnot. I hope nothing like this ever happens again.
Yeah.
But my original intent was never to do so. Like, this would be it, so to speak. But also, this has been. In many ways, people keep saying this is your calling. People tell me crazy things, like they think I'm a godsend, and that's just giving me way too much credit, because I'm just a guy. But I've thought about it a lot lately. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I know Mr. Scott, that there's some things that need to transpire in his life when all this is said and done, I'm sure. But I would absolutely love to continue to do some things like this.
Maybe even some rallies for awareness, because a lot of people don't realize, man. I mean, I worked in the oil field, but from a sales perspective. So I was inside sales and outside sales. But you can see the people that go offshore, these roustabouts, these riggers, all these people that go out there. They go 7 and 7, and they're like, oh yeah, oil field, y'all make a lot of money, blah blah blah. Some dangerous shit that you're dealing with.
And it's not like you, I don't know, You may have never worked at McDonald's before, but you could walk into McDonald's and kind of see what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just go walk out to a drilling rig and see what they do.
No.
That's not how it works.
If
you've never been out there, you have no idea the sacrifices these men make.
Yeah.
Those men are and women They're cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, it's I couldn't do that. You know, I mean, I worked over some land rigs when I was in college, and that's why I went to college.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that shit. So, but my dad was a diesel mechanic. I mean, I knew a lot of people that made their living off of the oil field, and they did very well. And you know, they had the highs, the lows. You know, you deal with layoffs. You deal with when it's like I said, when it's good, it's good.
Changes
when it's bad, it's bad.
administration.
Oh man, it gets crazy. So.
Yeah.
You know, not only are you dealing with the ups and downs, the ebb and flows of the economy when you're in the oil field, but you're dealing with a very dangerous type of work. And I think it's one of the most dangerous things that you can do in Louisiana, if not the
100%.
world. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, they got movies like, you know, Deepwater Horizon, all these, you know, oil field movies, you know, that shows the exact, I mean, how dangerous it really is to go out there.
Yeah. I mean, you just nailed it. I have nothing to say to that. Good job.
But I mean, yeah. But I mean, think about it. The Jacob. These guys were just going to work. They didn't know this was going to happen. You know, and I mean, their families didn't know what. I mean, every day. I mean, whether they work 14 and 14, 7 and 7, you always take it for granted that they're going to be coming back in 7 days.
There's going to be a lot of change with this because this is there's so much to fight for. Because I mean. Again, 55 foot of water, you can see land. This is like if you were to take a drive to work, got in a bad crash, and then we just left you.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
and
how it feels,
we're on like day 24, 25.
Mm-hmm.
I might have that messed up. Sorry. But we're beyond 3 weeks at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just imagine. Like, that's the reality for people in this industry now. We've learned that if shit hits the fan, the company you work for is responsible for saving your life. Nobody's really like held liable. Like we can't go as it stands right now. It's like I could be as mad as I want and cuss everyone out in the Coast Guard I want, or scream at JB for not even acknowledging our tragedy till 6 days later. Like none of that matters, right? Right now we still have men missing,
right?
And the community's doing everything they can, and we only have so many resources and avenues. There has to be something from this, whether there's a special division of the Navy or the Coast Guard that is designed for this task,
right?
For a real disaster in our waters. The fact that they were essentially inept to perform the duties, other than fly planes and drive boats and look on the water, knowing a vessel was literally underwater,
right?
There's no way you can. None of it. It's just unfathomable to me. And I know it's dangerous. I know.
No, but I mean, there should be simple things that we can do in the oil field. Like right now, you got to have a TWIC card, right, to go anywhere. Why can't you have like something on your clothes to where you have like a little a nav, GPS or something? You know, some shit like that. You know, I mean, that makes sense to me. Cops got to have freaking. Body cams on them. Why can't all field workers
bracelets.
that work on
I would do like a bracelet of some kind.
Yeah,
because you know you take showers and take clothes on and off.
Right.
But now there's people that suggest it. There's a lot of suggestions. And when I tell you when we cross that bridge and we get to that point of it, because this is, I mean, the oil field. Everyone, I mean, if you work in the oil field industry now, there's no way you're not concerned about shit.
Right.
Like. So whoever's got a suggestion from that, trust me when I tell you, Mr. Scott Daspit, myself, and many of these other families, there will be changes that we will fight for.
Right. And
we're going to try and make them as practical as possible. But it can't just be the change. Excuse me. Mike and X.
No, it's all good. Have another.
The change cannot be just a regulation or law that is some new paperwork that the guys got to go fill out while they're offshore.
Yeah.
Because that's just paper.
Yeah.
Like there has to be, whether these boats are engineered and designed in a different way, like for these guys to have a better chance.
Yeah.
In case this
go
were to
to
happen.
a safety spot or something I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
we have muster points and stuff like that. Those things are all there. This is the unfortunate part about change. Most change comes out of necessity.
Yeah.
Right. Most people don't, especially like when money's involved. You don't. People aren't inclined to implement change.
Exactly.
But because of this, there will be change.
Right.
Like two things I know. The government is gonna find somebody that did something wrong, and the oil field is gonna find somebody that did something wrong.
Yes.
Always. There's always a finger to point, and both of them are gonna find something.
Yeah.
But I hope that whatever changes that we come about make this safer for our men and women. This, you can never say this will never happen again.
Yeah.
Because it might. This was literally I can't even think of the word, but such a rare storm.
Freak accident.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody wants to acknowledge that.
Right.
But you know, because unfortunately there's been the blame game and with which company, the captain, like why they didn't do this, why they didn't do that. You talk to anybody in South Tim and all that in those fields that was working out there, and it caught everybody off guard.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I mean, I have to say this. Like the captain was a captain of that vessel for 15 consecutive years.
Yeah.
I know people that can't even.
Doing.
I know people that can't even keep one job for 15 consecutive years.
Exactly.
You know, this guy's on this
guy's
boat.
driving a boat.
This is what he does
boards.
for 15 years. Like, he clearly was competent. You know,
he was experienced, and I mean, they got records. You know, these guys got to get tested every time they go in. You know, he was very, very competent dude. That's why it hurts my heart to see people like, well, he shouldn't have went. He shouldn't have. And I'm like, y'all don't know what the hell's going on. You know,
they should. We're too civilized to these days. I would, because those people sometimes just need to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
because I see that, man. I'm like, you don't know it. And I don't even partake in, like, even trying to go defend anybody because they're trolls, man. And it's just, they're behind a keyboard and they would never say anything to anybody's face.
I used to spend a lot of energy, I'm not going to lie,
don't
when
even
this
do
happened. I used to, but, like, if you were in my Facebook Messenger inbox, good luck.
Yeah.
I stopped paying attention. The contacts I've made so far, I have them. But now that we have like an organization and I have, you know, people that like can tend to taking messages and suggestions, we popped up. I had a Facebook Live and I'm like, hey, I'm getting bombarded with fundraiser stuff and search and rescue suggestions. I need someone to make me a fundraiser page and a search and rescue page. And I swear that day, my Cajun Karens came out the woodworks and I had like 5 different options. Like, hey, I got a page. Hey, I got a page. And I'd have bit off more than I could chew with that. Yeah. But I got them, and we have them up and running. It's kind of crazy how willing the community was to help. But I let them deal with a lot of that now.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate enough now lately to be really searching. There's so much involved in all of this in general, from me trying to get the TED exclusion for the families, which we're still.
That's crazy. I mean,
a whole nother thing, right? For those that don't know, Peanut and Miss Stephanie suggested using shrimp boats to trawl for possible remains of some of our loved ones. And there's a TED, turtle exclusion device. It's like a big hole in the shrimp nets.
Allows the turtles to get out.
Yeah, so we don't harm those particular turtles. And we had asked and requested permission to just tie the TED, turtle exclusion device, without having to modify the net. Because Peanut had suggested this when the Coast Guard was still involved. It was like day 3 or day 4. And they did that. They requested NOAA, the National Oceanic, whatever the hell. I have too many acronyms crammed in my head. But we requested this, and they essentially, the exclusion we got was we had to remove the TED device completely and then make sure that we were dragging at least a 4-inch mesh net. Now, for most people that don't know, 4-inch mesh is for like fish. Like, we don't trawl for fish down here.
Right.
There's no like
shrimp.
Alaskan cod or something.
The webbing is like smaller.
You're not going to catch. So those types of materials, for one, to pay to have a net man, or if you somehow, because it's a trade in its own.
Yeah.
Come right before shrimp season, which is about to open.
Yeah.
Remove this TED device, change your entire catch net. And like, say this volunteer wanted to do it for a day, they got to spend the money to do that.
Yep.
And then, hey, my livelihood, my career.
Next week, trawling season opens. Yeah.
I need you to come back, and it's just not practical. And we submitted all these plans. We were going to tie the TEDs, pick up every 55 minutes because we know we're going to
turtles. Yeah, we'll drown.
We got to be able to make sure that we could release them. We had a plan we had to submit on how to actually release them, which we contacted the aquarium in New Orleans for best case, like what's the most ideal way. We submitted all this stuff, and we weren't even asking for every shrimper to be able to do it, right? It's not like we were like every shrimper in the Gulf Coast was just going to magically come out the woodworks and start trawling with, because we know the potential dangers and hazards to the environment. We had a roster of certain boats that were going to volunteer for this, just those and them alone. Like we've suggested, you could put a wildlife agent on the boat with us to monitor,
right?
So we are doing this correctly, and nobody cares.
Nope.
It's crazy. No word from no word from the proper people, and it's JBE, the people all the way up in DC. There's a lot of our state representatives that have reached out to us. Like I've been in contact with many of them. Blake Miguez, Jeff Landry's office even. They're an attorney thing, you know.
Right.
Like they anything and everything they can to try and help get this done. Like and it's just unfortunate. But this is something. The reason why I'm not going to give up on this. is these coastal communities have, outside of this tragedy, but they have people drown every year.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can get set a precedent for this kind of exclusion, there's people that we never find. There's
Right.
other people that lose their loved ones and they never find them. This could set the precedence and an avenue for those coastal communities where if, God forbid, something like that happens, they have a chance to get their own closure. That's part of the reason why the community down there, Lafourche Parish and Terrebonne Parish, are so invested in this, because this is something they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like every year, unfortunately, they have people drown.
Yeah.
And this is something that can bring change to their communities and help their families and going forward.
Right.
So I'm not going to stop fighting for that. Regardless if we stop the search and rescue, that's definitely one of the changes that I'm going to try and get done. There's so much with all this, so many. I have a notebook.
Yeah. So many moving parts.
Yeah,
Huh?
I got a notebook of things that we're going to tackle with this. And I promise you, if change doesn't come, I'm going to have a whole lot of really bad Facebook Lives. Oof.
Well, it'll be at least entertaining. That's
Yeah,
for
well.
sure. Nah, but no, dude, look, I don't want to say I'm excited to see it full because the way it came about, that's a lack of a word that I want to use, but I know you're going to do right by it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You and Mr. Scott, God bless him. God bless you for what y'all
Thank
doing,
you.
man. And whenever y'all want to come on the podcast and talk about, y'all efforts or whatever, dude, feel free. The door's always open. Y'all can come use this as a way to reach the community. Again, I'm going to post only what you guys have. I don't want to have any cash apps or anything because, again, I mean, if you go in the DJ Rhett page, they got scammers all the time using my name to freaking give away money or whatever. I know they got bad people out there, and they're just going to take any tragedy and try to make money from it. So,
Yes, sir.
anything I do to help, again, for the bash, y'all more than welcome to come. We'll raise some money for y'all, whatever, man. And keep your head up, man. Eat a lot of Mike and Ikes, and look, don't be vocal, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. I get it, man. I get it. Your heart's in the right place, man.
Yeah.
And just keep fighting, man.
I will.
fighting.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And y'all stay tuned to the DJ Rhett podcast. Make sure you wash your little hands and y'all stay safe, y'all. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. All right, bro.
The DJ Rhett Podcast.
What's your mom and them?